Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to chat with you guys a little bit about the idea that control matters when it comes to lifting weights. And this is something, I have invariably, realized over the years, my decades in the game, my years of coaching, my years of observing stuff. One of the things that I've noticed is that people make a mistake and think that control always matters for, say, muscle growth. And that's not actually always the case. Right? Control doesn't always matter for muscle growth. Controlled cheating, even ego lifting, things like that can still get people big. Right? In fact, I've seen plenty of people who get amazing results in terms of just overall muscle, even ego lifting, assuming they're able to maintain some type of mind muscle connection with it. Okay. However, I've noticed they also do get hurt a lot easier. And some other things to think about with this, particularly if we're going to lift heavyweight. Like you'll see me doing some of my bigger lifts here. I think, what am I doing for the rep work here? Keeping in mind, guys, I'm obviously a little bit older of a guy. I'm 48 at this point. So, most guys my age are done. They're washed up. They're not going to even try to touch 3 plates on a bench. The overwhelming majority are not going to try. They're not going to try to deadlift 550, 600 pounds. They're sure not going to put 500 pounds on their back. I don't have a problem doing those things. Like you squash the 500 box. I've obviously back squatted more than that. And that's all raw. It's no sleeves. I'm doing some rep work with 315 on the bench. Some repping out 225 on the incline, some 550 deadlift rep work, stuff like that, right? So I move some respectable weights. But here's the thing. One of the things that I will say, control matters, right? Control matters on this stuff if you want to be doing this for years, if you want to keep your joints from getting beat into the ground. And I'll get over to smaller weights in a minute too, because I think it matters for your hypertrophy work and things also. But again, just observing some stuff from the training week that I recorded this, because I vlog all my workouts year round. Most people know that. Like right now I live 6 days a week. I may even cut it down to 3 one day, but I do 6 days a week. It's something I started doing a couple months back. And I vlog everything. It all goes up online. All my social media, the vlogs go up. So you guys see all the work sets I do. And I've been doing that for years and years and years. I forgot how many years. At least 5 or 6 years, probably more. So it all goes up online. But the thing is, it's all control, guys. And a lot of it's reps in reserve. Like people are like, you have reps in the tank at 550. Well, actually, that was my 3rd set that week with 550. So this was the final work set. And I just did doubles. I left a little bit in the tank. I've hit this for sets of 4 before. But here's the thing, guys. It's about control, right? We maintain control of it. Everything's under control. Everything is through full ranges of motion. Notice all the pressing was paused. The incline, the flat bench is paused. That box squat is paused, and we drive up. Same thing here. I'm going to do some weighted pull-ups. I try to do most of the reps from a dead hang. And at least with these sort of pull-ups, I'll try to get the chin to the bar. It's not always easy. I weigh over 200 pounds, so adding weight and doing these is not the easiest. But, again, I like to come down to a dead hang. Have control. Have control. Try to use respectable ranges of motion. And here's why. It keeps injury rates lower. Okay, number one, you just get hurt less. And particularly when you move in big weights. And I know that's not a super heavy weight for pull-ups. Considering I'm like 220, it's a little bit of weight. But when we start moving big weights, we get hurt easy. Same thing with rows. Like I can do sets of 12 like this with 185 and hit failure if they're controlled, right? Nice controlled, get that stretch at the bottom. I've done rep work with 275 though on these, but it's cheaty. I'm usually strapped up. But if you look at a lot of this and go, so what if I want to have good control? Well, we don't always have to have as much weight here with some of this stuff. We can get sets pretty well to failure or close to failure, a little bit lighter of a weight. And I tell that to guys, like all your rep work, it doesn't have to be crazy heavy. It doesn't need to be. That's why we do the big lifts. That's why we do the big lifts, even for powerlifting purposes. You saw 4 big exercises already. Squat, bench, deadlift, incline. Do we really need to go that heavy on other stuff? No, we don't. That handles it. Everything else can be sets of 10 plus, 10 to 20, control it. I'm not saying some supplemental work. Look, you might have some heavy supplemental work. I got like some heavier incline. Carries over to bench really well. I can make a case for really heavy good mornings for your squat and deadlift. I mean, I've done over a 500-pound good morning before when I was at my biggest and strongest on the channel. I think I did 550 for a single. I've done sets of 10 with about 400 before. Yeah, sure, some of that stuff we can, but we don't need a whole lot of that either. So what we're looking at is keeping injury rates low, and then you're looking at things like stimulus fatigue. If you can maximize muscle growth with, say, these are 28-pound dumbbells, okay? If you can maximize growth with a 28-pound dumbbell, same thing. Like I do my incline presses with 75s. And people are like, whatever, we've seen you do 10 reps before with 225. Why are you doing the dumbbells with 75s? And I'm like, because if I focus on a nice deep pause, full range of motion, controlling the weight, I start hitting failure at about 11 to 12 reps on that. I fail. That's heavy enough. Because here's the thing. We can only handle so much of the heavy work, and we have our big lifts. Everything else doesn't need to be heavy. Control it. You'll recover faster, and that's the thing that people need to think about. Not only is it lower risk of injury, you get beat up less, you recover faster. If you take a 28-pound dumbbell and you do it super strict instead of, say, a 40 and you cheat more, right? Because these are relatively strict. I'm not really swinging much. I do my barbell curls super strict. I try not to move my torso at all. But same thing here, full range of motion. Bring it all the way up to the top, bring it all the way down, right? Long ranges of motion control. We can use a lighter weight, okay? We still are getting the same tension on the muscle, right? If you reduce range of motion to add weight, the mechanical tension on the muscle isn't any higher. Ooh, that's a fact. But it beats your joints up more. You got to recover more from the bigger weights. But the muscles are not getting more tension. That longer range of motion sometimes adds more tension. Okay, so a lighter weight gives us the same muscle growth in that case. Take the sets to failure, or real close. Most of the curls are to failure. Right? But control it. You'll recover easier. It beats your body up less. And if we can recover easier, okay, here's where I'm going to go with this. People say, well, it might not matter, I'm recovering fine. But if you recover better, you could probably do a little more training. Okay, because we only grow from the training we recover from. So, it's a point I'm going to make. Maybe you're overtraining with 10 sets because you're going too heavy, beating yourself up. And if you were to just have a little better control, use a little less weight, keep it controlled, you might be able to get 14, 15 sets for that muscle group that you're recovering from. And if you're recovering from it, you can grow. Okay? So I'm just making the case that it makes sense to have good control of the weights. And even if that means you got to cut the weight a little bit, you got to check your ego at the door. Okay? Because we can have our ego. That's why we have the big list. But you want your ego, man, throw 600 pounds on the bar and deadlift it, but do it with good form. You don't need ego on a curl or a lateral raise. Right? 25-pound dumbbell. Even a lateral is a 15-pound dumbbell. You'd be surprised what you can do with that for your side delts. All right, guys, well, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative. I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.